Hello. I hope you guys can hear me. I have to be pretty quiet because I'm in the lobby of a Best Western. This is it. I'm in a Best Western in Dayton, Texas. And I'm in the lobby because I got a room here. The rooms are pretty expensive. I got the guy to give me a room for $50 flat, which he said it was like $75 a night. So $50 is way out of my budget, but I couldn't find another place to sleep, and I'm still too much of a coward to stealth camp out in the woods somewhere. Or I don't know enough about it. Anyway, so I'm in this Best Western, and I'm in the lobby because it's the best Wi-Fi reception. I have a lot of videos to upload. Real fast, this last day of riding, I left the campsite this morning. I started riding, and pretty much the RV park. I'm pretty much in Beaumont, Texas. Pretty much immediately, I was just hit with, I guess, a wind that was heading east, and I'm heading west. That wind was brutal, and I'm exhausted because I've just been fighting the wind all day. I remember at some point I stopped, and the guy in the pickup truck stopped in front of me, and I don't know if he thought I needed help, and I told him where I was heading, and he was like, "Oh, you haven't gotten that far yet, have you?" And at that point, I'd been riding like almost 2 hours, and I was like, "Come on, are you serious?" But yeah, I must have been moving pretty slow today because of the wind. But behind me, there was another rider, which is maybe the fifth time I've seen somebody else touring. Or maybe the third person I've seen long distance touring. And a fella named Scott who joined me for the ride. And he was a pretty cool dude, but he ditched me after 2 hours of riding together because I guess it was just too slow. He was going pretty fast, and I couldn't figure out how he was going so fast, especially against that wind. So after a while, he tried to hang in with me, but he just took off and left me. He didn't even say anything. He just took off. Interesting dude. I guess he was a little bit more, I don't know. He was something, but yeah, he did not want to ride with me. So after a while, he just left me in the dust, and started from Beaumont, which is about 90, almost 100 miles from where I was trying to get to, which is my friend Corey. Her parents live in Houston. I was trying to get to their house today in one shot. 290 miles in a day, and I only ended up doing barely 50. So, yeah, I did barely my 50 miles, and I got to Dayton. And I was dog tired by the time I got here. And I rode all the way through the town, and I came to this Best Western, which is pretty much the very last thing in this town. There's only 7,000 people here. I stopped in here. They told me, "Oh, it's $75 for a room." I was like, "Oh, come on, can you help me out?" He's like, "Well, there's a motel a little further back in town," which means I had to backtrack back in town. I went to that motel, and it was the vilest place I've ever seen. It's a meth lab is in there, and I think I saw a prostitute walking around, and I was like, "Oh man, I just don't want to stay here." So I went and asked the guy at the desk, and he was like, $38, and I was like, "Come on, man, at least let me give you 30. So I fought him down to 30. I was gonna go but he said 30 if I pay him cash. So as I was going to ATM, I was like, "Do I really want to stay here?" So horrible at the motel. And as I was standing there, this guy came up to me, and he was like, "Hey man, you riding across? What are you doing? You riding that bicycle?" And I told him my story and what I was doing, and he was like, "Hey man, you hungry?" And I was like, "Yeah." He was like, "Go down to the chicken buffet over here, I'll buy you a meal." So I rode my bike over there, and he followed me in his car, and sure enough, he showed up, and he bought me a meal. He was such a sweet guy. His name is David. Such a nice guy, older dude. And he was, man, he was so nice. He brought me a meal, and I was like, dude, I gotta thank you somehow. Let me do a scene for you. So we're at the chicken buffet, and I was like, let me do a scene for you. So I started to do a scene, and I went. He saw this, but I wanted to film this because it was so crazy. I was doing this scene at the chicken buffet. So I went up to this like Mexican family, this Latin family, and it was a dad and a mom, and I think like 4 kids. And I was like, hey, will you guys film this for me? Because I don't want David to have to film it while I'm doing him a scene. While I'm doing a scene for him. So the mom and the kids came out, and the mom filmed the scene as I performed, and I did a Romeo and Juliet scene there in the parking lot of the chicken buffet. Then I had my food, and David kept saying, eat up, eat till you're full. You know, he just really wanted me to be full, to be well fed and taken care of. He was such a sweet guy. He was saying now he has a testimony for the church because, you know, of him helping me out, and I was like thanking him for getting me the meal, and he was like, no, man, this is what Jesus told me to do. This is what God says to do. And man, he was just the nicest guy. And then after David left and that family left, I performed for another Mexican family that was there. The dad of this family, again, it was like 2 older kids and a little girl and a wife and a dad. And the dad couldn't even really speak English. The girl had to like translate for him a lot of the stuff I was doing, but I think they really liked the scene, and they gave me a little bit of money, and I made some money tonight, so I figured, I was like, screw it. So I called up this Best Western, and I was like, hey man, if I give you $50 cash, will you let me have a room? And he was like, I begged, I was like, please man, I'm so tired and it's dark and I don't want to stay in this seedy ass motel. And he was like, alright dude, come back with $50 and I'll let you give you a room. So I came back, and he gave me the nicest room. And then I was like, man, let me thank you by doing a performance for you. And he was like, alright dude, come back at 10 o'clock, go to the restaurant like on the other side of the parking lot. So I go to this restaurant. He's nowhere to be found, but the guy who owns the restaurant knew I was coming, so I like performed for his wait staff as they're like trying to close up. I don't know if they liked it or not. It was weird, but I did it. Just a bunch of girls, like 5 girls, who were all, you know, dog tired and been working all day and eating crawfish, and as they're trying to close up and sweep and do dishes and count their money out. I did a Macbeth scene for them. I don't know, maybe they liked it, maybe they didn't, but that's been the day. It's been a crazy day. I definitely thought about quitting a couple times today, but God showed up and had some crazy things happen in the evening. So, and he gave me that big beautiful room that I'm gonna be in. I mean, the bed is huge. Took a nice shower, and hopefully I can wake up tomorrow by 8 o'clock. I have to sit here so I can upload all this video. I need Wi-Fi to upload my video, and I just want to get video up as fast as I can. So anyway, hopefully I'll make it to Houston tomorrow before nightfall. It's still about 50 miles away. I gotta get to bed. That's it. Speedbearer out.